Good morning, guys. Reading the chat here. Everybody's getting stopped out. That's no fun. Max is over here smirking about something. I'm not really sure what it is. But yeah, Max was the reason we're a little late today. It wasn't me for once. He was on the live trading session this morning for the New York session. So he was excited that price was finally doing something, I think. But we do have some things to talk about. So might as well hop right into the charts. We talked about yesterday, specifically, getting in a scalp long and then getting out near 24/7 because that's the level to reclaim. So to review that price action, a box. If you guys recall, we set up a box here. And let me get rid of all this stuff for you guys. I know I always clean charts, and then here I am, always with the mess. We had this box right here. Came down to it, looking for 24/7. Go out to the E on this. Very, very nice. Let me get rid of my weekly profile here. Just not a necessary item. But you'll notice right here, this is our high from yesterday, talking about after the weekly open, which was support, resistance, back to support. Some never did anything to get underway. You can see this is a downtrend. So it is selling off, and you taking out the previous day low. It offered a little bit of support, not really, just kind of like weak bounces to back test the weekly open. The London session point of control on our chart previously, if you guys recall. So we can get rid of that guy. He's no longer necessary, and weekly pivot back to a little bit of, horse support here. So looking at this, yeah, I mean, I'm interested in the reaction out of this area. What we talked about yesterday was these lows taken, boom, boom, and it was boom. And now we are getting this move here. And a lot of times when that happens, you'll run it and you'll take all the lows down to our main target. So while this is to be support for now, we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves. We should definitely be able to trade this area if given the opportunity. The move to me now looks like I'm waiting on this, and everyone else is as well. But timber high has been that key level. I'll say it just for Max, 22.81050. It's a level we've been talking about for almost a full, no, it is a full month now. It's been a full that we've had this level on our chart, and I to be relevant yet again. DXY, we talked about this, waiting for the minutes. We're pretty much range. However, it is coming off support. Again, this is either going to be support or resistance on a macro scale, if you guys recall, and you can see this is the trend right now is up. So until we start breaking down out of our trend, the DXY, I would expect it to come up to this box over time as it did front run it previously. The key to that is going to be getting back above the 12M1 from this year, the yearly pivot, 104.30 on that. So DXY is good. Now the SPX coming down into support right here. You can see it's come back to its monthly pivot, something I shouted out yesterday. So anyone that's trading the traditional land markets, get rid of that quarterly POC. And what do we notice here? Well, the previous day low. That's what you should mark out in this instance, in my opinion. And you're at the monthly pivot. So if you reclaim the previous low, we can look towards potentially trading this back like this high right here, around 4,010. That'd be pretty lofty, to be honest with you. That's a lot on what's going on here. So otherwise, 39.78 is backing up the monthly. It's like a horizontal level. So you've got some support in this region. Bitcoin also coming down into support. However, if these regions of the chart don't hold, further sell-off definitely can happen, and that would include the SPX and would probably include the DXY trying to make that leg up into this next resistance zone. And if it can get above 104.775 and hold it as support, I know this is a zone right here. I am looking all the way up to 105.788, and then I'd be looking up potentially even to backfill some of these untapped targets right here from this quarter and the first 6 months of price action. So those are pretty high time frame targets, though, meaning that they can take a long time to get to, and they don't necessarily have to go there. Again, everything is based on mean reversion, and anything can happen. So you can't fall in it, but we have to also understand what the analysis is. So yeah, weekly pivot has been tapped. We talked about this zone yesterday. If this gives, this is the target we're looking for, that weekly pivot, which we now officially hit. So we'll see what kind of reaction we get. Me personally, unless you're reclaiming these lows right here at 23,853, you reclaim that, I would expect a back test of the VWAP and the previous day low here, and we can go from there, right? So not much else to talk about, guys. We have our targets, we have our levels, we have our trades that we can take, and hopefully you guys are making money from the analysis. But in reality, the only thing that's going to make you money is your actions. So you still have to take the trades. And if you're still learning, I would just say, maybe not trade as much, at least with a lot of money, or trade a lot with a little bit of money. In the words of Max, I think that's his preference. So I've not really got much else to say on this. We'll see what we get here on the bounce. This is it's trying to do something, but ultimately, unless we start reclaiming and living above the weekly open here, I'm really not in favor of not coming down to that September low at this time. I just feel that is probably going to be the area, and we'll go back to the overall. Yeah, get back above the weekly open, you'd be living inside this range, and at which point 24/7 is probably coming. And I'd be curious to see where the overall gold pocket is from high to low. Look at that, be the play. So you get back above, stay low. I think that'd be kind of premature to call it, but if you can clear this like local high, get a little change of market structure on the low time frames, I'd look for that bigger bounce back to that 24,700 area again, and also the point of control of your right. So otherwise, lose this area, and you've got downtown down at September high, and there. Max, I'll turn it over to you if you're ready.
I'm not. Bear with me. Let me get my screen up. There we are. So I've been wrecked today. This has not been a good day of trading for myself. I've been trying to trade the longs, and I actually got wrecked twice in this drop here. We'll go over it though. So today's been interesting. Shorts have definitely been the way to go. I've just tried to go against the short, against the trend. Reason being is, let me go to this chart and hide that because we don't need it. Looking at this, there's been so many shorts that have entered in this whole move, and we've not taken any of the highs. So my theory goes that as soon as we start to do that, as soon as we start to put the shorts under pressure, we're going to get a bit of a short squeeze going on, because there has and is so many shorts that have built up in this region, in this bit of price action here, that a move up could be very fast. Now, of course, as Magic has said, the weekly open is really key, but that's the initial, move, and you want to try and get in before that, really, don't you? So that's what I've been trying to do today, and it's bit me on the arse. Actually, really twice, but 3 times effectively, and I'll go over why. So the first trade that I took was from here, I believe it was. Hindsight, it was the golden pocket. In hindsight, I should have taken my profits at the local golden pocket. But the reason that I entered here is because we had a ton of shorts enter. Again, you're going to hear it like a running theme, a ton of shorts enter. The V-up's really been key. There's been shorts entering down here. You get above, you'd expect them to be squeezed. Okay, that's what you'd expect. Weren't really. You come back down, shorts enter, you'd expect them to be squeezed. Where are the stop loss is going to be? Well, they're going to be above the high. We don't do anything. And then right now at the low, I have a hotkey on my computer that when I tap it, it enters the trade and automatically sets a stop loss. So I entered when we quickly got back above the previous day, the current low, or the previous day low, or I think it's the Monday low. And then it automatically set my stop loss, whipped back down, took me out, re-entered, and I just got taken out here. Looking at the low though, it's pretty good. It's a very good low. You've got I guess this is the low, but here you've got very high volume. Look at the open interest on that candle, and look at the delta, very negative delta, and the open interest just isn't with it. What does this tell you? It shows you there's positions changing hands, and I might want to take a trade. Bear with me 1 second. Not the best position. check the volume chart. Not had any good percentages on the volume chart in a minute. So, okay, back to this. Yeah, you can see you're getting a lot of selling up here now. So it really just want to break it. You want to see the delta try and continue it with this green that you've got, because what we had here was positions changing hands. Obviously a lot of selling, but someone was taking those positions over. People tried in this second candle, including myself, to then buy, because when you see positions changing hands and such a quick move with such high volume, finished auction, oftentimes you will get a pretty big bounce from that. And as you can see, the candle was red, stopped everyone out that took that trade, and you've come down and tapped the pivot, the weekly pivot, which has been a target since Monday, of course. And then it just looks like there's no buying really coming in. It seems like it's a lot of selling. It's people are maybe they didn't set a stop loss. They've seen it's come back up and they thought, you know what, I'll get out of this position here. So unless we see a load of positive delta coming in, I don't have you guys up, so I can't see what I'm saying. But unless we see some buying coming in, and what I'm really looking for is I need to go to the 1 million chart and zoom over to where we are now and do this. So what I want to see is this type of price action here, where we've got high percentages, but you want to see it kind of sustained. You don't want to see it drop off as it did here. So when I said, I need to go and look, I realized we were up at the Monday low, but then it had not been sustained. You want to see the delta get sustained. You'll see it, important highs and lows, that you get a very clear transition from, the high was very green, and then suddenly you had a little bit of stalling, and then you saw very red. And you see it time and time again, even here on a minuscule high. You've got very green going into the level, stall out a little bit, and then you start to get your high percentages, solid reds coming in, and they're your signal to enter. So, but you want to see it sustained. And right now we've not had it sustained. What we can do is, let's have a look on the 5 minute on Super Crack Sheet. Sorry to swear, on Magic's channel. You can look at something like this and see if we can potentially get an entry at the golden pocket. There's no PVAs down here, which is on the green side, which is a good thing. When we were looking here at this, when we were doing the live trading session, you had 2 PVAs at the bottom. And the issue is, when you have PVAs at the bottom, oftentimes you come back down and take that low, or you at least come and close the candle out. So if you've got an entry, you need to be aware of that. So it leads issues. So the fact that, we blasted straight through the golden pocket. Yeah, so it's clearly not over. That's what I'm trying to say. You just need to see some buying take place. And until that's the case, and still while you remain trapping the longs, obviously it's not a good buy. You need to see, ideally you'd see buyers come in and not get trapped, but it'd be great if you could see shorts start to enter and they get trapped, and then you see buying. That would be the perfect recipe for this to be a low. But you've got targets to the downside here. It is in a difficult area. It needs to reclaim some levels. Kind of is what it is. But yeah, I've not really got too much else to say. Let's have a look if we've got any single prints. We do. We've got a mini single print. So we can have this on our charts. Is that really one? 23790. The half an hour timer just gone. It has. So it's the top of this candle. So I wouldn't trust that single print right now. I'd kind of let that boil for another half an hour. And my phone is off. I'd kind of let that boil for another half an hour. I wouldn't really trade it just yet, because it can continue down further, and then we do the thing where it's just transitioning between one 30-minute candle to the other. But yeah, no buy as of right now. Let's have a look at what we've got going on here. So you're getting buying, you are getting some positive delta. Is it being sustained? Not fully. So yeah, right now no trade. But yeah, I could keep talking, Magic. How long do you want this to go on? We can just keep talking through price action, but I feel I may ramble. I do want to take a trade, but I'm just not getting the.
I'm personally. Yeah, I'm personally waiting a little bit here, but I would like to see 23.5 like 27, but if we don't get it, you know, I'll pull the trigger if I see some strength, but I'm looking for a little bit lower still. I don't know. I think it might root around down here and give us an opportunity with maybe like some low time frame bull div at support here if it puts in a little bit of like a mini range during the session. So when I say mini range, we're talking like maybe it spends like an hour down here, you know?
Yeah.
So
And
that's how I would look at it.
The fact that we've not had a fast move out of it is kind of telling that you're probably going to get another low into the region. So if we look at, I don't know why I changed chart then, you know, this low here, you know, you spent 10, 20 minutes here, but you got a fast move out of it. This one here, fast move out of it. Even here, fast move out of it. You did come back down, but ultimately a fast move out of it. And you know, it's the same for the tops and the bottoms. Normally you get fast moves out. If we're lingering around here for a little bit, chances are you're going to come down lower and then get that fast move out of it. So
yeah, I mean, if we're playing the 10-minute strat, we're looking for 23.8, 39.50 to be taken to the upside.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Right back up there.
Yeah, but yeah, let's talk about Matic while we wait. That's in the title for a reason. So why I shorted Matic, right? I hit my first take profit this morning. That's why it's relevant. So probably do a video. Maybe I'll make a clickbait title, why I shorted Matic. But it did hit my take profit almost to the T. Came down to 133.34. You guys can take a guess at what my take profit on Matic was. It was 133.69. So we nailed it. We nailed it. I know Max is going to love that. So I had like this little local hourly support right here, if you want to call it that. And I bounced off it last night before coming back and nuking through it. Now, the more important thing to note on Matic here is you've got your established yearly trend. So in developing quarterly range thus far in 2023. And you can see that you're now regarding the value area high as resistance. Not a great look. Doesn't mean it can't put in a little low here and bounce out of this. But the reason this was an area is because you have this local pocket here at 129.53 with a 6M2 6-month key level, big level for me, and the local gold pocket. Now, in terms of volume profile, though, it's pretty much no man's land. I'm sorry, this is your monthly trend, not your yearly. So pretty much no land in terms of trading because your POC is all the way down here, and you can see this is a fairly low volume area on the move up. So I would expect this to be a pit stop, but I've been wrong before. That's why we take that first take profit after a good move. I believe I was using is 2.22x, and so not like a ton of percentage on it. I guess we're sitting a little over 30% in profit, which is good for a trade. And just kind of watching it come down, and hit our target. So my next take profit is going to be a very small incremental one at 122, but I realistically am still targeting the higher time frame, which is going to look like so. So you can see that's my little box. I put the box on the chart, taps it. That's how this works, guys. We're looking for the B leg of this right here. So that would be the in the old fun folder, right? I did front run my time a little bit, but whatever, doesn't matter. So that's how I'd be looking at price right now and trading it. We could also fork it out if we wanted to, which this chart's about to get a little messy, but that's okay. We can see that this is saying we come down, right? Now let's look at this more so as a channel. So you want to use modified shift for that. Yeah, this is definitely saying come down. So we lose this area, the B leg, which we're not at yet. We still haven't come to level. If we do, though, it is important to hang on to this $1.01 to $1.05 region. That's the primary target of a pattern like this is going to be the B leg. Return to your old range. So we need to start getting out of the asset at that time. If we wanted to be a little more aggressive, we could go with an inside here. And I think this would get things fairly well. Let's stop at 122. You break down, there's your EQ. There is the low all the way down at like 83 cents. That is way down there. That would imply that if we come back to range and find acceptance, we're coming back down to cycle it, which would make sense if you lose $1, basically. I would expect to see 83 cents and then probably these lows right here. But that's getting way, way ahead of ourselves. But I am going to let that run a little bit. And if it stops me out up here in profit, I just have more Matic at the end of the day. It was a good trade, is what it is. We've locked in something at least. LRC was the other one I've talked about that I'm watching loop ring. It's just a really nice, easy chart, in my opinion. Let's go 1 hour. Clean it up. This is your February information. So developing still, have 6 days left. You can see you're at the bottom of your trend and you are getting a small rejection here, meaning that you are losing trend, at least for the last 20 days. This has been your trend, the deviations that I set on this, and coming down into this point of control and like 39.24 level. And we lose 39.77 here on like a material closing basis. The overall point of, we target the low of the range, of course, at like 36. However, I'm looking more towards like 33, 30. And then ideally, I would like to come down into this gold pocket on LRC. Let's get rid of our regression and the month. And I'd like to come down to this region personally. Just personal preference. I mean, it has to. Let's see if there's any market structure range that I could be looking for here. Honestly, not particularly fond of this for like a market structure range, but we'll do it. I'll do it just for you guys. Voila, there you go. Looking at this after the bounce is what I'm most interested in because I feel these guys are probably washed out. However, these guys are more relevant now. So I would be looking at this as value area low down here, and POC giving us a little bit different tail in terms of a local time frame versus the high time frame. So that's okay. Still looking for the gold pocket and my level down here. Lots of confluences, 4 of them. This would be the area that I'm looking to trade if given. So that's where I'm at on LRC. So as always, I'm here. It's got to reclaim the 2017 highs. That is the level on the chart, and you can see you've also done swung fail the high here at the top, and my computer is lagging like a mo today. My connection sucks again. We're gonna have to have a talk about that. I'm paying $95 a month for the top speed internet, and I've got a poor connection, and in my opinion, not a good value. But yeah, the daily swing fail up here, looking down to obvious targets, but I'd be looking lower over time. That would coincide with Bitcoin definitely making a low down here in this like September area potentially. I don't know if that is a deep enough correction on Bitcoin to send these altcoins to levels, but what is that? 20-30% down for that, and Bitcoin is trading here. That's what, $1,000, 5%. I mean, it could happen on some low cap shit coins like this, but it's just me. Max, you can interrupt me whenever as well if something you want to talk about, because I'm just going through altcoins.
Yeah, what was the level you got at 2.3, 5.23?
Right here?
I was looking for I was looking at 5.27. Oh, it's an SP one. I'm with you. I was looking for it on my chart. Yeah. I was looking for it in your notes, and I couldn't find it.
Yep, I just got the area boxed off because I wanted that London NPOC tap, which if we go down to 1 minute, you can see London NPOC tapped, low taken into the now. And what I said was like we're down here, and you'll get like a little bit of a struggle. And if it can form like some bull divs on the CVD down here, like maybe like a low time frame thing, it might be worth it to the upside, or you could be patient, change market structure, and then trade VWAP and trade session, your local session here, right? We could trade that as always, and then you could turn on your end, and you can see you're well beneath it right now because it's just absolutely nuking. It's trying to get back in but struggling. It's real for the price right now. So we'll see what we get, but if we get this move down, I'd be interested in that. I've got nothing else, guys. We've been going for 25 minutes. Am I gonna have to cut this one? Let's talk FOMC today. Minutes are going to be released. So the last meeting, they're going to talk a little bit about inflation, which has not been coming in great in the last few weeks. You guys know how I feel about the macro, though. I do believe you should trade your charts. Trading the charts is always going to give you the setup, even if it coincides with news, because the news will get you usually wrecked and left behind, right? So for me, yeah, they're probably not going to tell us too much in it. Nothing we probably don't already know. If you guys follow, some like news outlets that will actually post quotes from the board members, they've been actually really good throughout the year, because a lot of times you can't trust those quotes. But in this case, we've had a pretty good run where they've been basically telling us what they're going to do. And now there is some talk that they are going to raise their terminal rate target potentially. So instead of being at, an average of 5 to 5.25, maybe we see them say we might go to 6%, which I don't think would be good for the market. And I think that they would use the strength of the labor market, to justify that they're going to keep raising rates. However, what we know about situations like this, I just realized I didn't turn my lights on today, so it's really dark in here. I saw myself on screen. If they keep raising rates, they're going to do so until they potentially break something. And what that means is that, the labor market is only strong until it's not. And if they're dependent on that, once that goes, that strength in the labor market goes, because that's ultimately what they're, as part of it is maximum labor and, inflation. That's what they're after, is employment and labor. They bring employment down, inflation starts coming down, but then they stop cutting rates. Traditionally, once that's done, that's when you get like your major low, your sell off on like traditional markets. So where Bitcoin is positioned at when that occurs is going to be most important. We're obviously months away from that. So I imagine this meeting today, we're just going to get told that they're going to consider raising their terminal rate. They're going to stick to the plan that inflation is their number one goal. It's not going to be anything new. However, we should pay attention to, the next meeting when they raise rates. If they do 25, I imagine they're going to go for another 25 after that. So I would expect to see at least 2 more 25 basis points. And if they threw a 50 in there, I think that could be bad. So that's really all I've got on it. Let's see what the SPX is doing real quick here. Look at that. Look at that. We have support, but previous day low, just absolutely not having it. Go down to the 1 minute here. You can see that's where your target is, came up above the low briefly, back down, right? So you want to see this previous day low confirmed into support. And if so, then we look to take the high, right? That's all you're looking to do. Nothing fancy about it, guys. So I'd be patient on this one. You got a little 1 hour SFP here. So you want to see that holding. If so, we target like the local high we were just talking about, which is all the way up here. It looks like a lot, but it's really not. It's in the scheme of things. That's a lot for, a normal day in the market. But yeah, this previous day low, I'd look for this if you can hold that. If not, well, may come down and take these lows once more into this other support here. So Bitcoin, again, as we just spoke about, getting a little bit of a bounce here. I want to see this continuation follow through with the trend. This is just a local session. It's only from 6 a.m. to now. At the high of it actually puts you at the high of current developing day value area low. So implies a back test of today's range, which you'd like to see as a positive thing if you're in a long, because if you can get back above the day value or the current day low, at least according to the 40 tick here on trading view, then you can say I think we can see the VWAP, which likely coincides with the value area high right around like 24K. XO gives a different point of control than trading view. Trading view is showing 24,100. This is showing 24K on XO for me.
Yeah.
For the day. So that would be the target. It would be the VWAP and the daily point of control according to XO charts. I would trust that a little more than trading view. But you've got to get back inside the, you could either call it the China pivot in this low from yesterday, or you could call it the value area low, whichever one. They're kind of interchangeable. They're only about $40 apart. So kind of splitting hairs there. That's what you'd be looking for. So if you're in this trade already, more power to you. You're like a little, the pattern traders are probably going here on the 1 minute with a bearish pennant. So, we'll see how that pans out for us. Let's just keep it horizontal. Right? That should be a pickup line for my trading. trading pickup line. Let's just keep it horizontal, baby. Anyways, enough with the bad jokes. And I don't really have anything else. We have our, you know, our place. This isn't a good place to be looking for shorts because, well, I've put the box there because it's support. So we already know what we're looking for. Thank you, Ari. There's 34 of you in here. That's dope. Thanks, guys. Stacks says, I got in on ETH at 1620. Was a good spot, or do you see 1500 or 400? It really just depends on what Bitcoin does. That's always the unpopular opinion. We'll look at ETH real quick though, for sure. Binance. So this is actually a chart that I put together on ATAS back in the summer. Really gets things well, to be honest with you. I haven't had to change this thing at all. I've put 0 levels on this chart outside of the ones that have been on here. They're all volume and time pointed controls and vals, things like that, merge data. But my next support, yeah, it comes in at 1500 and then 1418. If you look at like your local golden pocket, right, you probably pull it from here if you wanted to. Yeah, you can see it's coming in pretty close to that. You could even maybe here if you wanted to, but yeah, I would say 1418 up. You know, something one could for. If we go to a more USD chart for Bybit. Oh, it's up. Goddamn. Taking the Lord's name now. And as you guys know, I'm quite the religious. No, just kidding. Yeah, you've got the SFP up here. This was the key level we talked about at 1677. You have to hold this level, and it gave it up. You can hold this level. You can potentially push this July high, which is your key is 2K. And yeah, based on the range here, I mean, this is not a lot of data, but it's, you know, about 7 weeks worth for the low here, potentially. Coming back to this like little like domain, so to speak, that I've got boxed off. 1570 is your local gold pocket. There's just nothing there. Not anything there. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. There's your monthly pivot. So I'd be looking to come back to the monthly pivot at like 1500 to 1485. It's also the value area low, a little underneath it, of course, but of the developing quarter. And I think that should be suffice for it to be front with you. I think that would be a decent target. And we could even do a structure range here. I believe I've got that one pulled. You're still well within this. Let's get rid of that. You're just not necessary. Too many lines on this chart. 2 lines. And let's actually add a little color to the background, the histogram box. So you guys can actually see what we're talking about. There we go. So we can actually see this price action. And you can see that this is your value area high all the way up here. We're at kind of these key averages, horizontal averages. So in reality, coming back to the overall range point of control here at about 1580, I expect to see the monthly pivot though, just based on local ranges. And if you lose that monthly pivot, you can see you've got this like 1418 area coming in at a low volume area. So careful, but if lost, again, we were just talking about the low, which is right here. Yeah, look at your gold pocket, overall gold pocket from the move, just like Bitcoin coming in near the value area low. So 1418 is going to probably give you at least a bounce. Same with this 1500. I call them pit stops, but I'd be willing to trade those areas given the right recipe if everything else looks good. However, this would be an area that I'm much more interested in. You can see it's been very good support and resistance. So that's what I would look for, to be upfront with you. However, if you don't see it, you have to be ready and willing, to trade the price action as it comes to you. Meaning that if it puts in, like it swing fails this local low here on the monthly pivot that we put in this past month at 1462, let's say it comes down to that 1418 area, then reclaims this level, right? Reclaims this low. And most importantly, you get back inside your range, then yeah, I'm going to try to trade this up. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to try to trade it back to like 1677, probably the point of control at 1635 for some scalps and maybe leave some of that to run. But I usually don't day trade Ethereum, but that would be the play for me. I'd want to see this low taken into this zone, reclaim of the low, then up if I was interested in trading this area of the chart. May get it, may not, but you set your alerts and you go from there. Like you could set an alert right now for the value area low. It's coming in right here. So I've set that alert at 1534. If you wanted to move it up a little bit, you could just call it 1536.69. There you go, just above the value area low. And that way you're ready when this move happens. So you get the alert before it's at the destination, so you can go back, review your plan, and make sure that you're happy with it and you've got your risk worked out in advance. That'd be great. And then if the trigger is given, you can take that trade. I can see it. I did third at 16.20 for a long, so I'll keep it then. I have on. Matic short setup's looking good. It's hit take profit 1. We went over that earlier, but I'll revisit it. Just kill some time here before we hop off. This was take profit 1 box. Barely, but it did tag it. Here's the coordinates of the box, right? You can see there's the low at 131.95. The box is 131.91, so kind of missed it, but I took profits at 133. So I didn't miss out. I wanted to make sure I front ran my target. So still looking for lower prices on Matic unless something changes. But yeah, first take profit's been locked in. If we lose this zone, this 129 area, it is a region, unfortunately, I have to say that. You've got a quick 7-cent move down into this 122 area, but I'd realistically be looking for this area. And another thing that you could even confluence of this is this last local high that we put in core 4 on this move up. Right? And this is when we started covering the Matic chart. We were looking for this ABC move down into what? The C, which technically is the B. I've got it underneath the fund folder right here. Boom, right? So you can see got really nice correction and off it goes, right? So be monitoring this high. It is of consequence at 130. So if you give up 130.71 or 129, which is the mathematical level, you've also lost this local high, and I'd be looking for that higher low to come in, ideally right here. But if you don't get that, you have to look at these highs or these lows, and Matic's been on a tear. We made our overall low, put in a low, we put in a higher low, and a higher low. Well, what happens when we start taking out these stop losses? If it doesn't bounce here and these go, you're going to rotate this. And I'm actually going to target all the way here in that scenario. And I imagine the rest of the market's going to be quite bearish. And so I'll leave that portion of that trade to run to those targets. And then I will look to re-enter Matic in this region, to be honest with you. Secondary target of something like this, you can do it one of two ways. A little harmonic fun here for you guys in the morning. Just a little nugget. We use our trend-based fib from the X to the A to the D. We should make a song. And you're looking for that gold pocket. Look at that. All the way down here at the 68-cent mark below these lows, which is that C pivot, which is then looking for SFP of my C leg, right? So we now have all our structural pivots mapped out that are the most. X is important level. It's the low. B, mid-range, very important to hang on to in the medium term. And then you've got C here, meaning that pivotal spot on the chart where it's reversed and then expanded to those commonly seen converge. That's called convergence with Fibonacci. But the 886, at least a 1618 up to 261 off of these two moves gives you this bearish bat setup. So this would be your next target, would be the C leg. It would also be your gold pocket for the trend. And then we would look at this as such as well. Let's see here. Does this give us any additions? It certainly does. You could pretty much say this, the chart right here is going to offer up support somewhere between 79 and 63 cents, which is a really loose way to do it. Best way to go about it is to trade the reaction, and the reaction would be coming eventually, which is my preferred setup. Doesn't mean I'm going to get it, but if it's my preferred, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to set an alert there now, in fact. And that way, if I see this low taken and it's reclaimed on an SFP, so we come down, do something like this, I'm looking to trade this back to the range, right? Do something like that. So that's how you would do that. Hopefully that makes sense. Not to confuse everyone, I'm going to set another alert at this local high right here so that when it is reached, or if it's reached, I'm fully aware of what's taking place, so I can see this as it's coming down, and we'll go from there. Do I ever use the RSI? I actually do have RSI tips and tricks, but I don't really use it a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of info in that Fibonacci video, and I do apologize. I'm actually going to redo some of them because I've made a deal with Max and CVO, so the group should be excited about this. They actually don't know yet. We're going to be doing a newbie stream once a week where we do full chart build from start to finish. Usually takes 30 to 45 minutes to do that. So it's kind of one of those things where it gives you a chance to ask questions as we go, gets everybody going. And it's not just for newbies. Everyone can participate. There's always a nugget in there, but I'm going to do a harmonics lessons for the academy. So those will each be individual videos so that it's not too long. And a lot of that has to do with fibs. So we'll be pulling a lot of fibs by hand and showing you how convergence works, how to do extensions, negatives, expansions, trend-based fibs, things like that. So you'll get a lot out of that. And, me and Max have talked about this, the new content that we are making. We want to keep it to like 10 to 15 minutes of video. So that would mean like I cover the bat setup, and then I would go on to like a shark on another video, and another video would be a Gartley, et cetera, and you guys will have the harmonics section. Now, one thing I do want to give you guys is a little bit harmonics. The problem with harmonics is people start looking for them everywhere when they start learning about them, and I don't want that because then I get questions. And this started happening in my DMs, and I'm like annoyed with it, so to speak, where I was getting like multiple in a day from different people were like, is this a harmonic? Is this a harmonic? And it's like, bro, like you're spending time. I understand you're trying to learn, but this is not as productive as you think. Harmonics oftentimes come in at really key areas on the chart. So that's when they're the best, when you get a harmonic that completes into a really nice high time frame confluent zone with like your horizontals that we teach and your ranges. That's what you want to see. But yeah, I mean, it can definitely happen. I am curious about one thing, and this is a very ugly chart, but that's okay. We'll clean it up here in just a second. We're gonna get rid of this bat. Give me my regression. Oh, it's so hard to see. This would come down here as well in the bottom of this, and that July NPOC. So if we pull, third video in the academy actually goes over how I use regression and what my settings are, why I chose those. And this would imply if we start losing this local high, we're back inside the regression from that harmonic, and that this has been kind of a sideways and uptrend, which you can see is, basically looks like we've got a pretty clear trend here. The channel. I'd be looking midpoint. If the channel breaks, I'm looking all the way down the right in line with everything else. So if we lose this dollar region, obviously we've got some support here at like 83 cents. However, so there's a lot of ways to trade this. If you traded this as a channel, which very well could have been a play for you, you're still trading this to the EQ of the channel, which is the year pivot. And then you're trading it down to the bottom of the channel potentially, which comes in where that dollar zone, which is that B leg. So that's the primary target for now. If the primary target is reached, we don't see the reaction, we put in a lower high, come below the primary target at $1 over time, then yeah, my targets change. I imagine the market looks different, where we've come up to a major resistance, and Bitcoin is probably doing something like this that we talked about, right? We're probably doing this now, and that would be the case. And I'm not going to get my clout box, because that's all that is a clout box, but we'll probably see something like this. And I would expect to see this coming down. And I would imagine if this is the case, if we remain range bound, right, as a larger pullback happens and we come down to like this zone right here, like gold pocket zone, right? We got gold pockets for days, guys. We always have gold pockets right here. Yeah, you can see that. Let's extend that to the left. Extend it to the left. Come down into this region of the chart. Right?
Crypto
value pocket.
Crypto Shinobi, the book's in the group. Crypto Shinobi, the book's in the group. If you're in the group, we have a book section. It's most likely in there, I believe.
Yeah, the books are in the group. They're all in the books section. So is Carolyn Borden's Fibonacci book. I put that one in there because that's my preferred one since it goes over Fibonacci time. And so, yeah, that's it. But for now, I look at this and I say, I don't think that the low is likely in on this correction. I think even if it bounces from this region, it'll be just a day bounce. We should be looking for this 23.5 region, which is also the top of our range value area high if you include all price action. If you wick beneath that into the gold pocket, you're going to want to see that level reclaimed right around 23, right? So that's just a $400 move, this little box here, right here, this window of price. This area on the chart is likely the destination to take this low, get into this box, probably hit that gold pocket, and then see if we can get the retrace to the upside and a move. And the move continues because nothing's broken right here. However, if you start losing 22,810, you can see on Bitcoin, like, honestly don't really think there's anything for you until you come down to this old monthly pivot that we haven't tapped yet, in which case, you know, this trend looks like it's going to do what this chart suggests, you know, and at that point you have to be ready. You see, you've got to make your plans accordingly. That's why I preach taking profits. You know, I've been pretty vocal about when I take profits. I post every exit that I've done so that people know, hey, he's taking more profit. Why? Because we've hit a major area, and we hit a major area at 25,222 was my last take profit. I do still have 25% of that position left, the leverage anyway. And so that's in case we make the high and we make this push. Maybe this puts in like this could do something up here where very 20-esque, but I don't think we're going to see that personally. But best case scenario in this is to do something like this. If we come down and we don't take this low, is to put in like a triangle. You know, you'd be looking like that, right? That'd be best case. I just don't see that being the most likely case. But that would be, it would be shit for everyone involved because this would be an area everyone wants to long. It would take those guys out, and then everyone would be looking for this low. It doesn't take that low, and then it comes back up, makes a lower high, higher low, consolidation, and then do we go down or do we go up, right? You know, very, very simple. That actually would be probably the worst case for people because triangles, you know, we don't trade patterns here, but I will tell you a triangle pattern that gets tighter over time actually does a really good job of fucking a lot of people because they just get, they never really get the chance to take a high or a low. So shorts don't ever really get out of their positions as they should. Longs don't get out of their positions as they should until they just keep getting chopped alive, right? They just mess with it too much. So, but you know, that's why we trade the range, because then the patterns just don't matter, right? Then the patterns don't matter at all. We trade the range. That's all I've got, man. We've been live for, I don't know how long. It's been a fair amount of time though. And I don't see any additional questions that I should know about. 26,700. Would I say it's invalidated? I wouldn't say it's invalidated by any means. Cause again, you know, son of a gun, that
I've turned you off. Turn me on.
That danged brush. Oh, you turned yourself on? All right, go ahead. I'll cover this when you're done.
Go. I've turned you on.
Oh, I was watching on YouTube and it must be behind because it shows your screen. So 26,700 invalidated. This is going back to our all-time high. We ran the same type of setup. Notice how we failed, made that higher more push to swing fail the high. And that's after the one-to-one time here. So if we do one-to-one in time, you can see that the one-to-one came in right here. Technically, it's the two spot in this case, but so made this higher low and then gave the push. So again, time is not perfect. Neither are these sign lines. Pretty close. So if we have this 1 week window to the other side, this very well could take a bounce and then come back down. That is also a possibility in trading. We have to be ready for that. This very well could come down to that zone of support, that little box I just drew, do something like this, and then come down. And that would probably take out the most amount of traders too. That would be it would be a shit sandwich for a lot of people. The preferred scenario, if we want good continuation, like we're going to see this claim this 26.7 pivot, not just reach it, would be a larger consolidation in my opinion. And that would do something like this. And then you would want to see it, you know, continue the trend, right? That's how you want to see that happening. It's way too early to make a call like that. It's all just speculation, right? So for me, as of right now, this was a take profit. If we don't reach this pivot, it's not the end of the world. And as I've said, we've seen this before. When we go back to the yearly pivots, right? We've seen this one other time, and you know, I don't think that we have to trade the same, but last time we didn't hit the pivot was right here. You can see what happened. This is early into the year. We got a huge push, just like we're doing now, right? Big push at the beginning of the year. Magnet all the way up, 87%, starts to dump, come all the way up, another 93% off the lows. Never reached the pivot until when? Later in the year, which Q4 is traditionally supposed to be the Santa rally, you know, so maybe that's the case. So maybe it does give us that opportunity that we've been talking about, where we say maybe we come back into the range and, you know, do something different. And there's your gold pocket, right? Just like we were just talking about. So, oops. Then you'd be looking to trade this down because you didn't reach the pivot. This front ran it by a lot more, however, but you don't have to come up there and hit it. And even at the end of the year, you still front ran it before 30%. Then consolidation, large formation here, something like this, right? You can see the triangle taking shape like we just talked about. Boom, and off it goes. Healthier, but if we saw something similar, it would imply that we don't reach the pivot and we come back to this gold pocket. I'm looking opportunistically. I put 0 weight on the pi cycle bottom indicator. I actually hate the pi cycle indicator. I think it's a meme, and it's data that was fit to a curve, meaning that the data had already occurred, and they openly said that they curve fit the data. So if you don't know what curve fitting is, YouTube it. But yeah, I would put 0 weight on that indicator. I would literally never consider looking at it if somebody asked me to. So kind of a rude thing to say, but you know, they plotted the data, and they actually made the indicator, and they just adjusted it until the data fit. That is not going to, it's going to basically decouple from its accuracy over time. It won't remain accurate. And we're already seeing that, because I'm pretty sure it fired off, because I see the memes on Twitter. It fired off at the highs right over here. And that's why people are like, oh, the bear market really started right here. I'm like, no, and you're just fucking retarded. You just needed some excuse, excuse my language. You just needed some excuse to, you know, be wrong that you couldn't see that this move was coming, right? Because everyone was pretty bearish right here. You're just schlonging the market. You're just taking the schlong. That's cool, man. If you're taking an intraday trade, just make sure you pay yourself, or at least have a stop loss. I don't care what you do. It's your money, you know, make money is what I hope. But yeah, it fired off here, but the actual top was over here, just like it fired off, I believe, early on the bottom. So you're already going to start seeing it earlier and at different times. It's just going to become less and less accurate. And then people are going to say, well, it fired off over accurate because the low didn't come into here. It's not that big difference. Where are we putting the standard deviations on it then? When does it become, when is it relevant and when isn't it? Is it just going to be like, well, it's in this general vicinity, right? You know, I mean, it just gets more and more vague. But anyways, that's enough about that. Max was going to say something before I went on a tangent.
All I was going to say is, let me get my screen up. I just can't see the low being in. If you're looking at the current, you know, delta and the open interest that we've got, you're getting these chunks of, you know, millions of buyers coming into the price, and we're not really going anywhere. So with that being the case, you'd expect them to get taken out and, you know, be punished for, you know, getting in preemptively. I say that preemptively, but I've tried to trade this already and got taken out. So, you know, with these huge lump sums of buyers coming in and price not doing, you know, anything, really, you can expect them to get taken out, which would lead you to actually tap the weekly pivot right way. I know you're in here. It'd actually tap that, and then, you know, maybe we come down a bit lower to the target which Magic gave us. So I just don't think the low is in, so I don't think we're going to go up from here. That's all I wanted to say, looking at the current, you know, data that we've got. But yeah, I'm pretty much done, Magic.
I think I'm finished as well. So for me, I'm gonna hop off here. Not in a trade yet, just kind of monitoring this area of the chart, waiting. So we'll see what she gives us. If you're in the group, I'll be around, obviously, and we'll see you in the group. Discord thing is up here. What is that called? QR code. Scan it, gets you over to the website. There's a link to the Discord there. Also information about our services. All right, everybody, have a good and safe Wednesday, and look forward to those minutes being released and going over them.